So I got Paul, and I did it by some sort of old school political quid pro quo, right? Like I had to help you technically get to Reddit and execute on Reddit, and now you're going to sit down and tell us your life story.
No, I would have done this for free.
So one of the things that we've learned about you, Paul, in the very short time we've known each other, because you're sitting right next to us, so we have no alternative but to have conversation with you, is that you used to be the director of the Pittsburgh Zoo.
Yeah, it's one of the jobs I've had in the past. I'm really old, but I do the very, very modern kind of job shift every 5 years.
Yeah,
so I've had lots of jobs.
So how old are you, Paul?
I'm 70.
70. So Peduto hired a 70-year-old?
Well, I taught him in a class at Pitt.
So what is your role now currently in the city?
I'm the city finance director. So awesome. I'm the guy that does all the revenue collection. I'm the tax collector for the City of Pittsburgh. I'm the guy you don't want to see.
And what would you say about Pittsburgh taxpayers? They're amazing. They're spectacular. They are average. How would you characterize
Pittsburgh taxpayers are wonderful. They're the ones that keep this all going. If we didn't have taxpayers, we wouldn't have any police. We wouldn't have any fire department. We wouldn't have any streets. We wouldn't have any parks. We wouldn't have any zoo.
And so it's absolutely important then, from the city's perspective, that we continue to grow this tax base, right? That we continue to nurture economic development to generate, really good taxpayers.
Right. The more people you have paying the tax, the less we all have to pay.
And so how do you feel that we're doing with that?
We're doing a really good job, because I remember what it used to be like years and years ago. I remember when everything collapsed in 1980. And when you look around Pittsburgh now, it just looks spectacular.
So where do you think that comes from? Like, how did that turn around? Like,
that started with Mayor Caligiuri. Actually started with Davy Lawrence and the clearing out of Point State Park. Went on to Mayor Caligiuri for the first city renaissance. Went into the second city renaissance, which moved out to the south side and places like Somerset at Frick Park. And we have a lot of housing development in neighborhoods now. This is a really hip city. You don't know that if you talk to the residents. You have to go to other parts of the country, and they'll tell you how cool Pittsburgh is if you've never been here.
So as a finance guy, you have a deeper understanding, I think, than most people of how this all transpired, right? Because you are the guy sitting behind it all and watching the money move and sort of the economy's mature.
I never consider myself a finance guy. I've done lots of things.
Yeah?
They are not all finance. I used to teach high school in New York City. I ran the zoo. I have been with the county. I was deputy county manager. I've done a lot of stuff in my life.
So where's this come from? Like personally, how are you such a Renaissance man? How have you managed to have the courage and fortitude to make these dramatic changes, they sound like, right?
When I was a little kid, I had a sandbox.
Uh-huh.
I used to build roads
Did you have
and
a cat?
castles. No cat. I used to build roads and castles, but as soon as they were built, I'd want to rip them down and start over again. And I think that had a lifelong influence on me.
There's some kind of
what
natural...
I do, as soon as I conquer something, I want to go on to something else.
Yeah. So what's going to be at 75? Rock band?
No, I retired once. I'm going to do that again.
Yeah.
And I need to get a couple more dogs.
Dogs? What kind of dogs you got?
Schnauzers.
Schnauzers. We got a little Boston Terrier.
They're nice too. Their eyes fall out though. You got to be careful.
You smack them in the back of the head, and it's just trip to the vet.
Yeah.
So not worth it.
Right.
So what do you think of this whole Reddit Ask Me Anything thing?
Well, this is fine. Any way that you can communicate with the public is really good. You can call me on the phone. You can email me. You can send me a letter. But if you want me to sit here and text with you, I do that.
Yeah.
I text all the time. I text all day long. Once I had a 26-year-old working for me, and I pulled out my phone because it buzzed. And he said, "What was that?" And this was about 10 years ago.
Yeah.
I said, "I got a text." And he said, "I never saw anybody as old as you get a text."
So you've always been sort of on the edge of what's important, huh?
Ever since high school, I've been on the edge, yeah.
That's cool. That's great. It speaks to also kind of, I think, the people in the room. Like, there's a lot of people like you here. Maybe not all 70, but have this sort of doer mentality. Is that
Government
fair?
has a lot of edgy people.
Yeah, in a good way. It's here or in a bad
All
way?
edginess is good.
Yeah. Hey, Paul, thank you for jumping in. If you had to ask the mayor anything, what would you ask the mayor? Is there a secret question that you've never asked Bill Peduto?
How long do I have to stay before I can retire again?
It's a good question. Paul, nice to meet you, man.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir.